South Korea, 1994. When the young barista attracts the wrong attention, she becomes trapped in a deadly game of survival. But the Chijon family, 7 outcasts who literally took Eat the Rich as their mission, never expected their captive to fight back. Led by a brilliant strategist Kim Gi-hwan, they build their criminal empire on one unbreakable rule: never trust a woman. But Lee Jong-soo is about to prove that rule will be their downfall. You're watching Shady Sketches, the Chijon Family. Hey there, I'm your host, Miles Harger. What you're about to see and hear will make you think twice about who's really behind those friendly neighborhood barbecues. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't face this nightmare alone. And now come, let me take you to South Korea. It started with a simple card game in 1993. Kim Gi-hwan had just gotten out of prison. He was 26 and full of hatred towards the wealthy, his brilliant mind twisted by years of poverty. As he shared his resentment with the other players, 2 men found themselves drawn to his words. Another ex-convict, Moon Sang-rok, 23, and Kim Hyun-yang, 22, a guy from poor neighborhood. By the end of the evening, they had made a pact that would change Korea forever. Kim Gi-hwan was reportedly top student in his class and held an amateur 1-dan rank in Go, a complex strategy game that revealed his exceptional intelligence. He was obsessed with Chinese noir films from the 1980s that emphasized humanity's dark side. Despite his intellect, poverty had forced him to leave school at age 13. After that, he worked in shoe and plywood factories in Busan before moving to Seoul for manual labor. South Korea was going through a rapid economic expansion called the Miracle on the Han River, but not everyone benefited from the boom. Corruption ran rampant, and many were left behind, including Kim Gi-hwan himself. His thought of committing heinous crimes crystallized after watching news reports about corruption in university entrance exams, a system that favored the wealthy while keeping people like him trapped in poverty. Over the next few weeks, the trio approached workers at construction sites and successfully recruited 4 more members, 3 men and 1 woman, almost all with prior convictions. The Chijon family was complete. As a next step, Kim Gi-hwan defined their twisted 3-rule doctrine. Rule number 1, we hate the rich. Rule number 2, death to traitors. And rule number 3, do not trust women, not even your mother. The Chijon family pooled their finances to become a military-grade criminal operation. They acquired 2 vehicles, walkie-talkies, dynamite, and an arsenal of 17 weapons, including a submachine gun, a pistol, and a military sword. But their most chilling acquisition was a small incineration facility with 3 prison cells added to its basement, their own personal torture chamber where they would hold victims before killing them. The gang prepared for war. They hiked and camped on Jirisan, South Korea's 2nd tallest mountain, learning how to handle dynamite and execute kidnappings. They had one ambitious goal: collect 1 billion won, about $1.2 million, through targeting the wealthy. But Kim Gi-hwan couldn't wait. Before their crime spree even began, he made a fatal mistake of assaulting his friend's underage niece on June 17th. This irrational act would almost destroy everything he had built. A month later, the gang was ready to draw first blood. They abducted a young farmer's daughter from under a train bridge and took her to the hills. She was their practice run, just a poor girl to test their killing methods on. Kim Gi-hwan strangled her himself while telling the others, "This is how you eliminate a person." The girl died around 11 p.m. When her body was found, police had no leads. But then everything suddenly unraveled. Kim Gi-hwan was arrested for the assault on his niece, leaving his gang leaderless. The remaining members stuck together, likely receiving orders during prison visits, but without their mastermind, cracks began to show. In August, those cracks became a chasm. Song Bong-un, their 18-year-old treasurer, saw his chance in the chaos. He vanished with 3 million won of their money. The hunt was swift and merciless. The gang tracked him down, dragged him to an isolated spot, and put a bullet in his head. But something darker happened on that mountain. In what was their point of no return, the gang killed and consumed the stray dog in a grotesque ritual. They had crossed the line from criminals to monsters, and there was no going back. For a full year, the Chijon family rebuilt their operation in the shadow of Song Bong-un's betrayal and Kim Gi-hwan's imprisonment. By September 1994, they were ready. It was finally time to start earning real money. At 3 a.m. on September 8th, two young people made a fatal mistake. Lee Chong-soo, a 27-year-old barista, and her date, a 34-year-old musician, were driving home in a Hyundai Grandeur through an area where the gang was hunting for rich victims. Neither was wealthy, but the car marked them as targets in the gang's eyes. The attack was brutal. With two cars, they boxed them in, used the gas gun to incapacitate the musician, and stabbed and beat both victims. Despite the car alarm blaring, no one came to help in the isolated area. Bound with tape, the couple was taken to the gang's facility and locked in a cell. The next night, the gangsters realized their mistake. These people had no money, but mercy was off the table. The gang needed Lee's silence, and they knew exactly how to get it. They forced her boyfriend to drink liquor, then made her suffocate him with a plastic wrap. Now she was an accomplice. Now she could never turn them in. They staged the scene as a drunk driving accident, placing the body in the driver's seat and pushing the car off a cliff after creating fake skid marks. Before leaving, the gang S.A. Lee at the same location where they had disposed of her boyfriend's body. Kim Hyun-yang persuaded the others to spare Lee's life. He had become the de facto leader after Kim Gi-hwan's imprisonment and seemed to take a genuine interest in her. He even gave her the noir books that Kim Gi-hwan loved, trying to bring her into their twisted world. 5 days later, the gang finally struck their big score. They kidnapped factory owner So and his wife at the graveyard, dragging both victims back to the incineration facility. They demanded 80 million won from So and kept his wife as insurance while he arranged the money drop. Despite a factory worker reporting the situation to police in Ulsan, jurisdictional confusion led to the case being passed between departments. In Gwangju, police suspected So was fabricating the kidnapping to cover up financial problems, a fatal assumption that sealed both victims' fates. After receiving the money, the gang forced Lee to execute both So and his wife, making her complicit in yet another murder. Then came their most grotesque ritual yet. The gang consumed parts of the bodies to shed their own humanity and absorb their victims' strength. They forced Lee to consume human liver while they disposed of the bodies in their incinerator. To mask the smell, they held the barbecue right outside, even offering pork to local villagers. Emboldened by their success, the gang decided they needed better targets. Through a corrupt worker, they had acquired a mailing list from an exclusive Hyundai department store with the names of 1,200 affluent customers. With this goldmine of targets, they began planning massive abductions while plotting to free their imprisoned leader, Kim Gi-hwan. But their twisted empire was living on borrowed time. The woman they had tortured into silence would soon destroy them all. On September 16, 1994, the gang practiced throwing explosives as part of their plan to free Kim Gi-hwan from prison. Kim Yoon-yang's brother had gotten the dynamite from his construction job, and the gang drunkenly played with it like children with firecrackers. As Lee watched them from inside the house, she realized these weren't criminal masterminds, but the disorganized young men with no plan, no direction, and no real principles. They claimed to hate the rich, but all they had done was eat a dog and cannibalize two middle-class people. Then Kim Yoon-yang ran into the house, blood dripping down his arm. He was injured by an explosion and required immediate medical attention. In a revealing moment that exposed how hollow his supposed principles were, he abandoned the gang's rule of never trusting a woman. He handed Lee 500,000 won in cash and a cell phone, choosing her over any of the gang members, and rushed to the hospital with her. His principles crumbled completely as he waited for treatment. Bleeding and vulnerable, he told her, "If you want to run away, then go ahead." Lee was unsure if this was a test of loyalty, but when the nurse called him into the treatment room, she seized her only chance at freedom, despite knowing the gang's brutal methods, and left. She took a taxi, then called for a rental car while hiding at the vineyard before getting a motel room in Seoul. The gang had intimidated her with false claims that thousands of Chijon family members could find her anywhere. So she called a friend to report the situation to police on her behalf, and later found the courage to go there herself. Initially, police didn't believe her. They suspected drug use and checked her for needle marks, but found none. Luckily, Detective Go-byung-chon realized she was referring to the missing married couple whose disappearance hadn't yet been reported in the news. Details only someone involved could know. The gang had been monitoring local departments, and seeing no search activity, assumed Lee hadn't reported them. Meanwhile, police traced the factory owner's phone and further investigated the cliff where Lee's date's car had been pushed, confirming her account. The arrests came swiftly. One of the gang members was arrested on September 19th, and the police used his phone to contact the other ones. They pretended to be hospital staff and told the others that their friend had been in a serious accident. When the gang rushed to the hospital, police arrested them all. On November 1st, 1994, all Chijon family members, except the only female member who hadn't participated in murders, were sentenced to death for killing 5 people. Even facing execution, they showed no remorse. Kim Yoon-yang told reporters his only regret was not killing more wealthy people. On November 2nd, 1995, they were executed at Seoul Detention Center. The case fundamentally changed South Korea. The weapons broker who supplied the gang was arrested, and civilian access to firearms became nearly impossible. The gang's method of using customer lists to identify victims led to enhanced privacy protections. They claimed additional members remained at large, creating lasting fear. A copycat gang formed a year later, but police arrested all members within a few months. The Chijon family stands as one of the most depraved criminal groups in South Korean history. Kim Gi-hwan's warped vision had created a ruthless killing machine, yet the gang's own doctrine of never trusting women proved prophetic. In the end, it was a woman who shattered the reign of terror, even though her freedom came at the price that would change her forever. What do you think would happen if Lee Jong-soo hadn't escaped? How many more victims would there be? And with today's economic inequality, do you think a new Chijon family could be forming somewhere? Maybe even in your own hometown? Let me know in the comments. I really read them. And if you want more stories that will make you think twice before splurging, hit like and subscribe. This was Shady Sketches. See you at the next creepy case.